Welcome to This Explainer. We're going to dive right into something incredibly profound today. We're exploring a grim, beautifully dark, graphic novel-style fable about two wildly different men, a heavily armored knight and a shrouded priest. Together, they undergo this agonizing, slow descent into realization. It's a story that completely flips everything we think we know about strength, holiness, and human connection. To really set our atmospheric scene here, I want you to imagine the suffocating scent of damp stone and rusting iron. Our travelers are seeking the ultimate truth, right? But they're directed entirely away from the grand towering temple they were expecting. Instead, they're forced into this claustrophobic pitch-black space measuring exactly these cramped dimensions, 6 feet by 4 feet. There is absolutely no room for their performative robes or their clanking steel to survive in a space like this. And that brilliantly illustrates our core theme. The whole essence of the Brutal Awakening is that true connection and that ultimate truth they were so desperately searching for isn't found in worldly ambition. It's not found by staring up at the distant heavens. It's actually found right there within the dark, uncomfortable honesty of shared vulnerability. The divine is in the dirt, you know? It's in the failure and in the sheer smallness of that cramped space. Section 1. The Illusion of Grandeur. Stripping away the ego. We all do this, right? Humans construct these massive psychological defenses. We build elaborate personas, fancy titles, and metaphorical armor just to project strength to the outside world. But this philosophy argues that these grand quests and performative rituals actually distance us from the truth. Keeping these two seekers confined in a cold, narrow cell proves a really important point. Enlightenment is only possible when we deliberately reduce these distractions. We literally have to strip away our performative robes and our societal status to see what's actually underneath. Section 2. Descent into the cell, the jester's path. There is a stark, visual contrast in how their journey unfolds. Our seekers start out chasing those unreachable celestial heights, but then they aren't guided by some wise sage. They're led by an ironic jester. And this jester funnels them down into that tiny 6x4 cell. By forcing them into this earthbound tiny space, the physical environment demands the shedding of societal identity. They literally cannot fit their massive egos and physical armor into this room. Section 3. The weight of metal armor, the knight's burden. Picture the scene for a second. A heavy, unceremonious clang rings out on the stone floor as the knight, totally exhausted, finally unbuckles his breastplate. He has spent an entire lifetime defending a realm he can't even feel, all just to attain some imagined sacred grace. But stripped of it, sitting there in the suffocating dark, all that's left is the dull ache in his bones. If we take a philological approach to his confession, let's really look at his specific use of the word nameless. This isn't just about forgetting what people call him. It reveals his absolute terror that his entire existence, his very worth as a human being, was completely dependent on his external armor. Without his sword, without his violence, he feels he doesn't even exist. His societal identity was nothing but a shield against his own emptiness. Section 4. The hollow sacred silence. The priest's confession. Sitting directly opposite the knight with their knees practically touching in this cramped room, we see the priest's internal struggle, which is equally profound. His hands are trembling as he pulls off his heavy cowl, and he finally confesses that his ceremonial silence wasn't filled with God at all. It was merely a wall constructed out of his own deep fear of being truly known. He was starving for a human voice, but his ego kept him trapped in a hollow cavern of his own making. It's a fascinating contrast. The literal cold iron of the knight's worldly ambition stands in direct opposition to the suffocating, hollow religious quietude of the priest. Both men used drastically different methods, one violence, one silence, to achieve the exact same goal, hiding from themselves and hiding from authentic human connection. Section 5. Philology of shared vulnerability, the linguistics of surrender. Imagine the flickering candlelight in that dark cell, catching the tears cutting right through the grime on the priest's face. The knight reaches out and speaks this profound realization. His specific use of the word ghosts perfectly captures their shared tragedy. Without authentic connection, despite all their grand quests and holy silence, they were entirely dead to themselves. They were literally just haunting their own lives. Then, as their hands finally meet in the cramped dark, the echoing, terrifying silence of the cell just completely evaporates into a sudden warmth. This is radical vulnerability in action. It's the realization that the ultimate truth is found in acknowledging mutual failure. When the ego becomes totally unsustainable, isolation finally transforms into community. This protective warmth of real, raw human connection finally replaces their desperate need for external societal status. The cold 6x4 stone walls, which just moments ago felt like a suffocating prison designed to break them, suddenly feel like a genuine holy meeting place. The space hasn't changed at all, but by stripping away their armor and their silence, the prison becomes a sanctuary. So I want to leave you with a provocative thought to ponder long after this explainer wraps up. Take a hard look at your own life. What worldly distractions are you absolutely terrified of losing? What heavy armor or hollow silence are you using every single day? And what profound warmth is waiting for you once you finally have the courage to strip it all away?